Hi, I'm Sarah, and welcome to Difficulty Settings, an interview series that follows me and my experience as a disabled individual while living in Edmonton. On this interview session, we're going to be covering what it's like to have hobbies while you have a disability. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and I hope to see you in other episodes as well. Hi, I'm Sarah von Gertzen. I'm 27 years old. I live in Edmonton, Alberta, and I am a filmmaker, and I also have a chronic illness and a disability. So I have a couple different things. Mostly I have chronic migraines. That's has affected me the longest. And I have some general joint pain that comes from some early degenerative changes in my spine and in a couple other joints that I have. And both of those two conditions really cause like a slew of different symptoms that come with it that are pretty debilitating. I have been feeling not so great today. I'm in a little bit of a flare-up, so I have some lower back pain and some hip pain, and down my leg I've been getting a lot of pain today. And it's been like just past my manageable level, so I've been kind of trying to take it slow, and so I'm not doing so great. On today's interview session, which is interview session number 2, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about what it's like being disabled while living in Edmonton, but I'm going to be talking in more specifically and how it relates to my hobbies. And I'm really hoping that this one will showcase kind of the stuff that you can do, even though you have a disability and are in pain a lot of the time. Because I know for a long time I felt like I had nothing to do with all this like free time that I had when I wasn't in pain. And I'm a little nervous to talk about it because the hobbies that I'm going to be sharing are usually ones that I don't talk about a lot with a lot of people, or it's kind of stuff that I do for myself. So yeah, I'm really excited. Some of my main hobbies that I have are obviously video games and movies and TV. I enjoy watching a lot of stuff and playing some video games. Besides that, the longest one I think I've had is watercolor painting. I have tried many different types of painting, and watercolor is the one that kind of stuck with me the longest. I just recently, like a year and a half ago, I picked up sewing, and from my exploration into sewing, I started making rag dolls, and it sounds like such a weird hobby, but I really enjoy making them start to finish, and each of them are so different, and they can be like as detailed or as like simplistic as you want them to be. But other than those two big ones that we're going to be talking about, I really enjoy video games and movies and TV. I enjoy taking care of like houseplants and gardening when I'm physically able to. And I just recently started tufting, caribou hair tufting, which is an Indigenous art practice, and it's from the Dene people from Fort Providence, and that's where my dad and my grandma are from. So I'm really excited to explore that a little bit more, and get a little better at it because it's really tough.
No, just hold them towards the camera. Like, not like, just hold them in front of you a little bit.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Hold it up.
I'm scared. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about my paintings. This is like one of my favorite paintings I've ever done and ever will do. I love it so much. It's two little ghosts on a fall walk and one of them has like a little ghost candle and the other one has like a pumpkin, and he's like straying behind. I loved the idea of this ghost having a ghost light and kind of guiding another one, and it's like a smaller ghost, so he's kind of like trailing behind. He's not really like as interested in doing the kind of walk that kind of needs to be done. And I guess that kind of is like two sides of me. For this painting, it's watercolor and just normal like inking pen. I did a couple different things, like techniques, especially that I love, is that the ghosts are very translucent. Like, it's more translucent than I would have normally done and have done in the past. And I think they just turned out like absolutely perfectly. I love the leaves. I used kind of like a fanned out brush to get the leaves, and that was the first time I ever used one of those. And I think I did a really good job with the color choices. And if I could change one thing about this, I would not be scared that it's ugly, because it's not. And I thought it was before. And I find like with a lot of things, especially when I have like anxiety and depression and OCD, it can be very hard to paint something that looks this good. And this is me on camera saying this looks good. But it can be hard to paint something like this and to recognize how amazing it is. It usually takes me a long time to put it away and not look at it anymore. And then I take it out and I'm like, I painted this? That's crazy. I couldn't possibly have done that. It's the same thing with my writing or with film. I've made films in the past that I couldn't even watch without breaking into tears of like how terrible I thought it was. And then I watch it now, like 4 years later, and I'm like, this is great. I'm laughing at it. So yeah, I think it ages really well. Yeah, I like this painting. And I keep saying that, I'm sorry, but it's one of my favorites. I definitely feel like my disability does affect the things that I enjoy, especially in the hobby. The hobbies that I do work on, it's very hard to do the things that lead up to the hobbies that I like doing, or the things I like doing. It's kind of like the time it takes to sit down and use the sewing machine, which is something that I had to buy in order to better my hobby, something with sewing. I was struggling so much with hand sewing every single day, and my mom and my partner bought me a sewing machine because I was struggling with it so much and I wanted to do it so bad. But even just sitting at the seat at the sewing machine and having to be so focused on something, I feel like that's the part that really causes exhaustion. It's a little bit harder with watercolor because like I have to challenge and push myself in ways, because with watercolor the colors are going to dry so fast that I have to really be in feeling well, and I really need to be in a good mood in order to sit down and do that kind of thing. I know something like that takes that much time to dry. Something that was part of the reason why I started sewing, is it was something that me and my psychologist talked to me about and really talked through, where sewing is something that I can put down and I can come back to the next day and not be so down on myself for being like, this looks completely different. My sky is not at all like a gradient like I wanted to in painting. I definitely feel like it comes into play a lot when I have to clean up. It's like by the time I've crafted something or done something that I wanted to do, and that cleanup period of like putting away everything is so taxing and it's so hard. And it's usually like a twice as long of a process as it was to make whatever it was I was making. So yes, I definitely believe that it affects me in like these very great ways. it feels more of like it's holding me back from what I know I can do and what I want to do. I feel like, yeah, that's a better way to define it. I think the thing I love about my hobbies is a theme within all of them is that, well, one, they're very like artsy type of creative hobbies, which I absolutely love. But I feel like the main thing for me, and this has always been something that I loved doing ever since I was a little kid, is the idea of creating something with my own hands and having that physical proof for myself that shows me that I did something. And yeah, they don't always turn out the way I want most of the time, a majority of the time. But I eventually learned to kind of like love aspects, even if it's just aspects about each thing. It provides me almost a way to use that extra energy I have in a creative way. And it provides me the opportunity to kind of escape out of what I'm doing. Because a huge technique of pain management is kind of like distraction, and it's a huge distraction. So I definitely feel like they fill that space in for me. And I just think it's so important to have that thing. I feel like with anxiety and having a disability for so long, I feel so not welcome, but I feel so it's such a struggle to be present and to feel included at different aspects in my life, especially when I was going to school or when I was working in film. It can sometimes feel like a really challenging process to feel accepted and included and just part of like the integral group. So it makes me feel sometimes like I'm an imposter, like I don't belong there or I don't deserve to be there. And I feel like sometimes that kind of bleeds over into my hobbies where I feel like, oh, I don't know why I'm doing this. This looks so bad. Like I shouldn't be doing this anyways. Like it doesn't matter. And then being able to see something after to kind of be like, okay, you're like doing good. You're learning things and you really mastered this, and these are the things that you feel like you need to work on, but also like you can just admire your own work. It can feel very exciting. I'm gonna be showing off a little bit of my other hobby, which is making ragdolls. And this ragdoll is one that it was either the fourth or fifth one that I did. And I bought this one pattern online, and I wanted to really badly to try making ragdolls. I thought it was they're so cute and they're so interesting, and you can make them so customizable. And I ended up making this one, and this one is the one I always show off if anybody asks me if I'm making anything or sewing anything. And for that specific reason is I did the hair design myself, specifically the bangs. I figured that out on my own, and it turned out so amazing, and it's so cute. And like many of my paintings, eyelids and lower lashes and crying. I really like putting a lot of emotion, especially in not traditional emotions. You go into a store and you see a lot of like baby dolls, or you see a lot of other different rag dolls, and it can come across very like toyish. And I always want to try to capture something real with everything that I'm making, and more specifically, kind of sometimes negative emotions, because I think those are also very important. In learning to manage and learning to feel what feels natural to people. So yeah, I feel like that's kind of like why I do stuff like this specific face. I really love making these. All of my yarn that I use for the hair and all of the clothing material and even the material that I use for the doll are all used like secondhand scraps. So they're all kind of like, I don't know, adding life to something that was on its way to the waste bin, and I really feel great about that. If I could do this doll again, I would redo the dress and not use felt because I hate using felt. And yeah, but this one was one that was completely stitched by hand, so this one's pretty special to me. I especially feel like it's very important to have a wide variety of hobbies, and this is something that I struggle with a lot in my life. And I ended up talking to my psychologist about this, where when I ended up getting a lot of chronic pain that was on a daily basis at the start of 2020, he told me to think of life as like a pie chart, where you have all these different wedges of things that you like to do. So you have a small sliver is like you love to walk, and then another small sliver is you love to paint, and you love to garden, and on all these different things, and they're all broken up. And then like he was talking to me about how important it is to have this wide variety of different things that take different skills, because especially when you have some sort of disability or a chronic illness, because on the days that I'm flaring up, I can't do a wide variety of those things. I can only do specific things. So it's important to know what wedges you have options with, and so it doesn't feel like you're not doing anything that day or you're unproductive, which is part of the reason why I picked up sewing, because it's a hobby that I can do like 2 rows on the machine and be like, oh, I'm actually a lot more tired than I thought today, and then I can leave it for the next day. The hobbies that I do are very easily accessible and easy to learn. So in Edmonton, yeah, it's a great place to learn, obviously, especially in the Edmonton community, in the arts community. There's plenty of resources available. Like there's the Edmonton Art Gallery. There's a whole bunch of like little pop-up drop-in classes at different independent galleries across the city. And our library is one of the best libraries like in Canada. And they have so many great books. I know when I was learning, that's specifically where I went to get learn ragdoll making, because they have such great books on ragdoll. I think ragdoll making. I think it's so easy to when you're getting started to learn from books and online videos. And the library is such a great free resource to even get direction points to what you want to learn, like online. But yeah, I mean, like I've taken plenty of classes. I just recently at an Indigenous contemporary art gallery, I took a tufting class, which was so fun. And it was one of the things that I was able to do, and I wasn't able to stay for the whole class. But they were so great, and they could see coming in I had my cane, and they asked me to sit down right away, and if I needed any help, and I ended up getting really fatigued, and my wrist and my hands got sore with the cutting. So I didn't finish, but I was able to take the stuff that I needed home, and I was able to talk to the instructor and message her if I had any questions or any problems. And that kind of stuff, of that little accommodation, where even if I don't need to reach out to the instructor after where I got what I needed from the class, that little opening to continue talking about it and learning is, I think, really important. Because it can be very sad, and it can be sometimes really hard to learn from a book or learn from online videos where you're very disconnected. But yeah, there's plenty of opportunities, I think, and works around for people with disabilities that want to learn different hobbies. This painting is a bigger one, you can see. Is one of the bigger ones that I've done. But this one, I really like. I love kind of like the black spots. And that's something very traditional to like watercolor, is that kind of like that bleed effect where it's darker in the middle. And I think it really comes across in this like little mushroom girl. But the reason I wanted to talk about this one is because this was the first time that I drew my eyes like that. And that has literally become everything I draw now. The lids with the bottom lashes I really like. I feel like they add a sadness to a lot of the paintings. I don't know, I really like capturing the sadness emotion. I feel like because it can be really hard and I struggle a lot with a lot of different things, painting them that way just feels kind of like natural, and I love the way it looks. It looks like a kind of like a traditional like baby doll type of eye. And this is when I started painting the backgrounds of my characters with something small. And usually by the time I would paint something like this, like the character, I'd be so tired and so sore. So I'm pretty sure for this one I painted the background the next day and then just redid the lines so it didn't look as messy with my inking pens. But yeah, this is something that shows I had to do it in stages. And yeah. Hobbies have, especially artistic hobbies, have added so much to my life that I would encourage other people to explore it, even if it's not a serious thing, but it's something that you kind of do on the side. I definitely think looking up resources like online videos and renting books in the library or finding different books like that or tutorials online really helped me in the beginning, because it's not this huge investment up front, and it's not like a huge energy thing. You can cut up your energy into certain chunks to learn something, and I think that's very important. Is one of the main things that I know I've worked on since I got a disability was how to conserve energy and how to manage my energy the most, especially with the fatigue that happens so rapidly, so fast. I really love hearing people who are passionate about things talk about what they're passionate about, and I know I'm very passionate about painting and doll making and all the other stuff that I do. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you for tuning in to interview session number 2. I really enjoyed being able to share my hobbies with you. And I hope that having these little interviews of how my disability is affecting different things is allowing you to take away some insight or different types of confidence within your life. And I hope that I can see you again in interview session number 3, where we're going to be talking a little bit more about how my disability affects my life in different aspects in Edmonton. But for now, I'll say thank you very much.